How's it going, guys? This is Ryo Murata, photographer based in Tokyo. So first disclaimer, this video is not going to be about film photography, unfortunately. If you guys know, there is a company called Kenko Tokina that recently last month, as of May 27th of 2022, released a new filter called Nostaltone. I don't know if I pronounced it right, blue and orange. But before I dive deep into that filter, I have to explain you guys who are Kenko Tokina. So Kenko Tokina, you probably know or not know, is a Japanese company that was founded back in 1957, if I'm right, similar to Etsumi, which I talked about their blowers. And this company, same as Etsumi, popped out after Japan lost World War II back in 1945, if I'm right. And 10 years after that, one of the industry that popped out was photography, film cameras. Companies started making film cameras, and various manufacturers started to make accessories along with that. And Kenko Tokina is, in addition to Etsumi, another company that popped out during that era, specializes, especially the Kenko division, specializes in filters, camera filters, such as ND, PL, variable NDs, and they also have square type, slide in ND filters if you're into landscape photography and stuff like that. And a lot of working professionals, especially in Japan, use Kenko made filters due to its high, quality and durabilities and stuff like that. So, and they're also widely known in Japan for doing the aftermarket maintenance kind of stuff for Konica Minolta cameras, film cameras, which back in I think 2010 they bought that license from Sony. And Sony said, we're not doing film cameras anymore. So they kind of split up, and Kenko Tokina actually purchased that division after Sony. So as time progressed, and back in 2001, they purchased a tripod company called Slick, which is another famous tripod manufacturer. And then back in 2011, they kind of purchased the Tokina division, which they are famous for making third-party lenses, and now their company is called Kenko Tokina. Same as in American companies, the first name in that company is the larger division of the two, so Kenko's larger than Tokina division. So as far as the history goes behind Kenko Tokina, they recently started to sell this Nostaltone filters that I'm confident that I'm the first Japanese guy talking about this new product. And this is originally made for digital shooters in mind, for people who wanted to recreate that film-like look, and more like an anime look actually. So, and I'm guessing that Kenko Tokina got this inspiration from a famous anime movie called Kimi no Na wa What Is Your Name, or What's Your Name, or I don't know the English title to that, but the color science in that particular anime is a little bit different compared to a typical anime. And if you never watched that anime, it's an interesting movie to watch. I think you can look at on some kind of subscription type of movie, like Hulu, or I don't know if Amazon Prime has it, or maybe Netflix might have it. So if you have the opportunity, it might be a great thing to watch. But going off topic, so Kenko Tokina currently sells two types of this Nostaltone filters, blue and orange version. To make this video sort of fair for my viewers, I currently use the X-T4 from Fujifilm, my hard-earned cash for making YouTube videos, and I went out shooting with my X-T4 with the 18 to 55mm kit lens, which if you're a Fujifilm shooter, you 100% have this lens, which is always bundled together in a set. And I thought I would try these filters to see what I could get out of them. And to be fair, again, I'm not gonna tinker around with exposures in Photoshop or after post-production kind of stuff, just straight out of the camera. Going to be shooting with the Provia setting, and that's it. Unfortunately, it's really hot out, so I couldn't shoot the BTS video along with swapping around with the filters, so I can only give you guys a look at a slideshow of how the images would look. And for the characteristics of these two filters on their website, I'm just pulling it from their website, converting from Japanese to English for you guys. It says that the orange one, the orange Nostaltone, is known for giving you that afternoon sort of like vibe to it. If you shoot this during the early in the morning, actually, this like filter provides you with a sort of like a weak soft tone that distributes the lighting across the frame compared to typical soft focus filters that do not have any color. And this is the most important part of this filter. It's hard to explain, but it's more like Tiffin's Pro Mist filter or black Pro Mist filters. In addition to that, there's a warming filter combined with that. So you guys probably ever use the Tiffin's black Pro Mist or Pro Mist. They give you this sort of like fuzzy hazy type of image, but on top of that it gives you sort of like a warming filter effect. So similar to film negatives that you like shoot on your typical like camera. What's like really unique about this like filter is that the orange in particular you can recreate that ghosting and flaring effect, and this filter in particular you can create these like bluish ghosting flares depending on, and this will like really depend on what kind of camera, what kind of lenses you use in the process, and also what kind of aperture you use when you finally shoot that photo. And there's like so many like possibilities. I shot with a X-T4 which has the X-Trans sensor. The 18 to 55mm is a really great like kit lens to shoot around with, and I got these types of like images. But depending if you use a Sony camera, if you use a Nikon camera, if you use a Canon camera, they all use different types of sensors, so your final output in the image will differ, unfortunately. But I could only give you guys a sort of like an idea of what it would look like on its like default like setting on the Fujifilm especially. As their like company's like website says, this does give a really warm like look to your images. Especially I was actually shooting in the morning around the neighborhood, and when I looked at the images, it looks as if it was shot during the afternoon. And because I might be shooting with the Provia setting on the X-T4, it has this sort of like contrasty yet not subtle look to the images, and it seems as if I shot in the afternoon, although I shot it in the early in the morning. So if it's a look that you're going after, sort of like the afternoon, sort of glow afternoon sort of like image, this might be a great like filter to try out. Okay, so this is one thing to mention that's really important. The difference between the orange and the blue is the orange has a stronger orange tint but a softer focus type of like filter strength, while the blue on the other hand, the color tint is weaker. However, the soft focus effect is strong, so it's like vice versa. And for the blue actually, and it's really confusing because I'm like converting from Japanese to English, but they actually say that for the blue Nostaltone filter, it sort of like bumps up the shadow area. I mean, if you originally shoot the photo and the shadow's like really dark, when you use this filter, that shadow area gets like bumped up and you can basically reveal that shadowy area. However, the highlights, the sky that's being blown out, actually, you can basically return or sort of like recover that highlights being blown out, making the sky look much bluer. So I mean, it's hard to like explain to you guys in front of the screen, so I'll stick in some photos for you guys as sort of like a example. When you compare the orange and the blue, I myself think the orangey, because I'm shooting with a film camera, so time it's in the warmer tone. I'm used to seeing these warm tones, and it's not like I hate it or anything, but I guess you could recreate it in digital, which is nice. However, the blue filter looked really refreshing to me due to the fact that I think there's like no manufacturer that makes sort of like a Tiffin Pro Mist type of filter, and on top of that add a blue tint filter on within that filter, so you can achieve two looks. It looks really hazy daisy, but it has this like blue tint for bluer skies and stuff like that, like blue highlights and stuff like that. So this one looked really refreshing to me, and you get it's like surprising if you look at the images that it's like really, I mean, new to my eyes. It's like I don't know in terms of strength compared to the Tiffin's like Pro Mist filter, but I'm guessing that it's like not a quarter but more like half the Tiffin's Pro Mist filter, black Pro Mist. If you ever use a Pro Mist, if you use a half power Tiffin's Pro Mist filter, it's pretty you get like really hazy effect, while the quarter you don't get that much of effect. But this one in particular, the Nostaltone blue, has probably like a quarter, not a quarter, but half strength of a Tiffin's Pro Mist filter, and on top of that you get this blue tint, which is like really refreshing, and it's hard to explain, but some people might like this look, some people might hate this look. And I myself, I mean, I was like tinkering around with exposures and stuff like that. If you overexpose, especially this Nostaltone blue, it becomes really dreamy like, and probably a lot of people don't like this look. However, if you like stop it down and make it a little bit like more like standard exposure where the highlights are not well blown out, I think it will yield really nice results depending on what you're looking for. And I enjoyed shooting with the Nostalgia blue more than the orange, and there's like so much to talk about, but because, you know, time is a constraint right now, I can only say my sort of overall like view of this filter. And it's like really hard to like explain this filter because there's like nothing to compare it with. I mean, Tiffin's Pro Mist filters, I mean, it's in a league of its own, and this is a completely different type of filter, and people might like it or hate it, but like I said, if there's a certain look that you're going after, this filter might like help out with those types of people. And I mean, it's not a filter to use for work and stuff because you lose a lot of sharpness, you lose a lot of details, but if you're looking for, you know, like achieving these like dreamy type of photos, this filter might provide you with that. And I mean, some of the photos look really nice while some of the photos look kinda. So I mean, I don't know why I shot that photo, but there's these random like trucks like becoming like advertising, especially trying to promote things within Tokyo, and some of them just blows my mind actually. So, and I have to admit that these blurry, what I call sort of like soft focus type of filters, like are a little bit different from the Cinestill's type of photos. You know, you guys know Cinestill, they have these blooming effects. However, this one in particular, I never shot with their like daylight type of Cinestill, like Cinestill's 400D and Cinestill's like 50D actually. I never shot with those, so I can't compare it with that, but I think Kenko Tokina is trying to achieve that. Like the highlight areas, I think they wanted to make it a little bit like blown out. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys like find it interesting. I'm like curious, like if you have any questions or any comments, leave it in the area below. And I'm like also curious, like what kind of filters, screw-in types of filters do you use, or maybe like slide-in types of filters do you use when you shoot with a film camera or maybe a digital camera? I mean, do you guys, the majority of you guys use Pro Mist filter from Tiffin, or do you guys use some kind of alternative filter manufacturers? And also your sort of like take on looking at the photos that I shot. Like, do you like these sort of like soft focus effect type of photos, or do you like to like just shoot raw without any filters at all? So please leave it in the area below. Happy to like check those out. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy this video. We will see you next time. Peace out.